Come and see, come and see, come and see. You wanna be, wanna be, wanna be. You wanna be in the light. Come and see, come and see, come and see. Come and see, come and see, come and see. You wanna be, wanna be, wanna be. You wanna be the light. Don't you wanna be? Don't you wanna be the light?
Greetings.
Hello, beautiful angels.
Thanks for joining us today. We have a wonderful episode for you that is an incredible, compelling, inspiring, uplifting.
You guys are going to be on the edge of your seats.
You will probably edge off of your seat because
You
it's
might
so
fall.
compelling.
You might need to wear protective gear because you might fall off your seat.
You might fall off your seat. As you're listening to today's episode, we have the lovely Miss Wrenna Monet, a visionary artist of the highest caliber, order, talent. We're just excited to share this conversation we've had with her that was riveting. I don't even know how else to describe it other than it was absolutely uplifting and riveting and all of those things
You can
wrapped
hear
up
a
into one.
pin drop. Marilyn and I are not even breathing through this. We were just completely there listening to this story, and it is so beautiful. And anyone who is a human being on this planet can relate to some aspect of this story.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people are going to resonate with her story and they're going to feel really connected to it in their own personal way. And so, yeah.
Certainly anyone who's ever been on any sort of a healing journey.
Absolutely. Healing journey on all the levels, you know? So get ready for that. And you know what? I'm just kind of noticing how much more upbeat we sound today. And that's actually with some good reason because
we discovered something. We had a huge breakthrough.
there were two things that were discovered
We thought
simultaneously.
that we were mostly dead in our last episode because of the collective energetics. And yeah, that had a factor in it.
Had a factor into it. But at some point, through a series of events, mainly the tip-off was the insane odor of natural gas inside the cottage. Now, you all know that we rent a house for our practice and for recording, and it's the cottage, and we love this space, and we've been here. And, you know, it's an older home, and we had a little cold snap a couple of weeks ago and had kicked on the heat and thought, okay, well, that's no big deal. It's like, you know, it smells a little like natural gas. And then it warmed back up and we turned the heat off and things are going along. And then we were really, really in the thick of it, in the thick of the dark night of trying, you know, everybody was going through their shit, right? We're going through it.
What was it? The
Oh,
moon in Scorpio or some shit like
Venus
that. Just
retrograde.
someplace you don't want to be. Just no.
it's like
Especially not for a Libra.
you
No.
don't have a deluminator and you're flying blind and you really just are like, let's end it. So I was having a particularly challenging day and we had a bunch of stuff planned to work over here. And I had, you know, my youngest was not feeling well and it was just a domino effect and I was really frustrated. And I had to come over and get my computer so I could work from home and do some things. And Melissa and I were both had arrived simultaneously and walked in the house and it reeked of natural gas. Like reeked. And I was in my own personal I was not in a good place. I probably said 2 sentences to Melissa. I came in, I grabbed my shit, I left. I went back to my house and bless her heart, she was literally the canary in the coal mine who calls the gas company. They come out. Well, come to find out, there was a problem, clearly, but most importantly is that there was a very unsafe high level of carbon monoxide in the house coming out of the vents. Well, that explained a lot, because essentially we've been over here for a couple of weeks at least, being slowly poisoned by carbon monoxide, which makes you feel really fucking shitty. Headaches, dizziness, lack of focus, concentration, memory issues.
Nausea.
Is it carbon monoxide poisoning, or is it ascension symptoms? It's hard to tell.
Marilyn and I have laughed so many times about ascension symptoms, which are real.
Yeah.
But I was like, at what point in time do you stop saying something is ascension symptoms and you really find out that you need to be in the ICU?
I was like, we need to be in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber is what we need to be in right now. I was ready to go squirt an O2 tank just to see if it would help my brain. So
Anyway,
we're over
here
here
now by we had 3 fire canisters going.
Gel fuel, and because we can't run the heat,
We are.
We're over here in a danger zone with cans of
and
heat.
we got to wrap it up because there's literally just
We're
like
down just a few little bit of flame left. And when it goes out, that's not a good thing because it's already so damn cold. But,
The funniest part about it is that the ONG guy said, I just hope you haven't been lighting any candles. And literally, if you only knew how many candles we have lit at one time,
how many fires we light in
here. It is a miracle
here.
that we did not go up in flames. I mean, this is real life.
I use a blowtorch to light my charcoal for my incense.
I mean, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just in this room, candles. And we have candles all over, altars and candles all over this house.
Yeah. I marvel at, I mean, seriously though.
It'd be like someone saying that in a Catholic church.
Our team of guides have really looked out for us this last week by getting us like out of here in a way that we needed to be safe and not blow up or die. So either way, it was a win-win for us. So yeah,
and
thanks.
hopefully it was a win for y'all.
Right, sure.
Because here we are.
Because now you get to laugh at us,
And get a carbon monoxide detector, please. If you don't have one in
Here's
your
the
home.
PSA. Here's the PSA.
Please
do
get
yourselves
one.
a favor. Get one. Put it in your house. Because it is the silent killer. And it will kill you. It will make you sick and you will die. Because we were nearly dead. We were very close. Like we had to have a Miracle Max intervention. So thank you.
Oh,
He's mostly dead. There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead. Yes. Okay. Oh, I'm going to record this because I don't want to fucking forget it. But I had this idea
yes.
that I wanted to do a whole thing about, as I was rewatching that scene I sent to you about God's trying to tell you something from The Color Purple, that there are certain scenes in movies that I cannot watch without crying.
I know.
Like crying, tears. I don't give a shit how many times I watch it. I am always going to cry. There are certain things. And I was curious, what does that reveal about me in those scenes of what's going on? Which got me thinking, I would like to ask people this question. Like, I would like for people to think about that. Like, there are scenes in movies that you watch.
Mine would be the English Patient.
I knew you were going to say that.
Which
I
we already
knew
brought
you-
up once because
Right.
the fire is dying.
fire
and
is
we're
almost-
about to be recording this in the dark. So yeah, the cave scene when she's writing that, like knowing that she's gonna die. She
Right.
knows she's gonna die,
Right.
and she's writing a letter, and she knows she's gonna die in the fucking dark in a cave
In a
the
cave.
middle of the desert, and
Right.
nobody knows she's there except one person, and he's running on foot, miles. Miles and miles and miles in the desert, and she
Right.
it's been days and days and days. Clearly she knows he's not coming back. And what would you say? What would you say if you had a pen and a paper?
Right.
For me, it's probably those kinds of specific moments or scenes that encompass so many
Yes.
overwhelming human emotions.
Yes.
That there's nothing to do but cry.
Right. Because it's the only way your body can handle all of that intensity of emotion that scene
It's like
is
it's so
invoking.
It's so beautiful, but yet so sad and so haunting and so, but also so amazing and wondrous and incredible and
Oh, yeah.
just it's so many things all at once.
Oh, yeah. I need to think about that. I mean, I can think of all kinds of scenes that will do that today, like, because I sent you that clip from The Color Purple, which that scene of Suge wanting to go sing and walk into church and getting everybody from Harpo's to follow her and singing God is trying to tell you something. Always. I can never make it through it. I've tried. I'm like, oh, you're not going to cry at this. Why are you crying at this? I cannot help it. And it gets me every time.
I love that.
The scene at the end of Places in the Heart when they're all in church. And it's kind of a magical, surrealist scene in that there are characters in the church that are dead, that are all there together. And everybody's there in a very peaceful, beautiful way. And they're playing an old hymn is what gets me because, of course, I know why that gets me. There's so much about the story itself, but in that moment, and they're playing in the garden, which is this hymn I grew up with. And if I even hear those notes, that whole thing and that scene, because it's a beautiful, beautiful moment of how everything does live in our hearts and the people in our lives. And of course, it's all this stuff. Any scene that encapsulates a sense of unconditional love and freedom and fearlessness, hand me the tissues, you know? So I thought this occurred to me, and I thought it was a really interesting thing to think about because everybody has their own version of what those scenes are. And I think it's an interesting insight to ourselves of asking that question. And that's it. It's the complexity of the human experience, all of it, you know? So it was like that. It really was speaking to me of, we don't think about, and maybe people do, but like how things impact us on that emotional level, whether it's a movie, a book, a piece of music, a piece of art, you know? And I think, well, in going back around full circle to our episode,
Well, yeah.
that Wrenna's work does that, you know, her creation, her art, it's everything and so much more.
I mean, you talk about the complexity and the beauty of humans,
I know.
the resilience.
And the transcendence,
I know.
you know, the transcendence of the human experience.
It's incredible. I could just burst into tears thinking about it right
I
now.
know. Truly. Without further ado, here's our conversation with Wrenna Monet. All right. On today's episode, we are so grateful and honored to have an amazing, brilliant artist. She's a motivational speaker, a teacher in her own right, Miss Wrenna Monet. Thanks for joining us today, Wrenna.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It is our pleasure, honor, and privilege.
And we're just
seriously.
excited.
Yes,
Yes,
we're
very
super
excited. So, how are you doing today? How's your day going?
Oh, beautiful day on the Oregon coast. It's sunny, starting to feel the fall weather. I'm loving it. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Well, we always try to remember how we found out about people that we feel so connected to. And Marilyn and I were talking, and I honestly am just drawing a complete blank. It's almost like you just instantly appeared in
Magically.
my Instagram feed, and it was just a beautiful, serendipitous, amazing synchronicity that happened. And I just fell in love with your artwork, and it spoke
thank
to me
you.
on so many levels, and I recognized the intention behind it and the love and depth and honoring, that takes place within one of your pieces of artwork, your beautiful creations.
Thank you.
And yeah, we're just so excited to get to know you and to have our listeners get to know you. And
Yay.
I know.
Well, and of course, just your entire journey as a human being on this planet is compelling and it's inspirational. And then, of course, once we found out and discovered you, which you've been doing your thing for quite a while, we've watched your documentary, the Fire and Ice
cool.
documentary,
Awesome.
which, of course, we encourage all of our listeners. It's an absolute must.
Yeah, that documentary really helped me a lot. In it, it talks about my traumatic brain injury. I used to be a commercial squid fisherman, and I got in an accident when I was on the boat and lost my long-term, short-term memory, all my cognitive abilities, speech. I went from being extremely independent to being non-dependent, and had to rely on my mother to make sure that I was eating and driving and stuff. But that video, my sweetheart, Alan Gordon, filmed for me to help me see every day what I was going through, because I was kind of like 51st dates for several years.
Right. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really crazy to say that, because I'm definitely not there anymore. I've gotten my memory back, but not all my memories. I don't remember most of my life. I lost my identity.
Wow.
And Fire and Ice really helped me to see every day. It reminded me who I was, like what my family was, where I was from, and it was kind of like that movie that I got to watch, like in 51st Dates, of myself to get me to be better, and to know that I could overcome my depression and my emptiness that I was suffering from, because I was really, really depressed. And Alan filmed that on when I had to go to Alaska. I to be under the care of my mother. I lived in the traumatic brain injury facility to relearn and to see what I had gone through, because I had a lot of pride and I didn't have a memory to even know, or to be capable of admitting that I was messed up, until I went into the facility. They showed me how short my memory was and how bad off I was, and it made me work hard to get better. And that video just really helped me a lot, and I let it go viral to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I know that without going back and revisiting the entire thing, do you have any recollection of the accident when it happened?
Yeah. So, yeah, I have a crazy life story, actually.
Yeah.
We love that.
We
I
love
do. Yeah.
crazy life story.
I'll go pretty far back to get to the
Please
15.
do.
Yes.
We want it
Tell us.
all.
So
Start on the day you were
I,
born.
yeah, I was
Go back to
raised
when you decided to come to Earth.
yeah, definitely. So I chose this body now to be an artist. Before my identity, before this life now, I feel like I'm 9 years old because 9 years ago is when I got hit in the head, and I call it my recalibration process. Before that, I was born and raised in a small village in Southeast Alaska called Petersburg. And I was raised in a cottage with no electricity or running water by my amazing hippie parents. And so I was I'm from a fishing village. Everybody there is either a fisherman or doing different things, and gold or oil. And it's just kind of our nature to be on the water. And I love the ocean. So that was where I was raised, in the woods, and listening to the silence of nature, and being very inspired by the terrain and the Tlingit and Haida Native American energy of the land of my home, which I feel is such a big part of my art now. And it was a place that it's about 3,000 people on my island there. So I didn't really ever think that I would have much opportunity to leave. But I got Miss Alaska 2004, Miss Alaska Hawaiian Tropic, and then Miss Alaska Petite Teen.
How did that even come about with you entering a pageant?
It's weird. I was actually working as a hostess at a restaurant, and this guy came in and was like, "Gosh, you're pretty. You should come and do this pageant." And I was 17 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "I can't go to a bar." And my mom, "I can't go to a bar." The contest was at a bar. And she was like, "Well, bring your mom. She can chaperone you." And I go to this contest. I'm the youngest girl. I'm blonde, little, or I think I was short-haired redhead at the time, and I was a little rock star. But I go to this competition, and I ended up winning. And I didn't have much money then, and the bar, the owner of Marlentini's bar, sponsored me to go to the next contest, and I ended up winning that contest, and I got Alaska. And then I ended up going to Hawaii to compete against the most beautiful women in the whole world. And I was the youngest, the only redhead, the only short-haired girl.
Wow.
And I think I was the only one with real boobs also. Because everybody was just these beautiful, gorgeous Barbie girls. And I felt really out of place. I never really had that much confidence growing up. But it fueled me and showed me that, man, this might be my golden ticket out of here. Mm-hmm. So I started just working out, and through that I made contacts with agencies, and then I got lined up to do another contest for Miss Alaska Petite Teen, which I won in 2004, which prompted my move to California to chase a dream as a model and an actress. By 24 years old, I was a Screen Actors Guild actress. I had 8 magazine covers, Spreads and Maxim, FHM. I had the cover of Caribbean Tan Calendar. I did a lot of amazing things that I never thought I would be capable of doing.
Well, that's incredible. Yeah. I mean, that's like such a wild ride.
Just that in and of itself.
It's my old me too. It's not who I am now.
Right.
Like I feel like that was, I got hit in the head to kind of be put on a different path. Mm-hmm. But going back, so I lived in Hollywood for about 6-7 years and loved it, but it wasn't for me. After a while, I started realizing like I really wanted to have real friends, and I got sick of fake people and people blowing smoke up my hiney.
Oh, you can speak plainly here. It's okay.
I can. Okay, good.
We're an explicitly rated show. It's fine.
Good. Because I do talk like a sailor girl.
So do I.
Totally.
You're in good company.
But yeah, so I got really sick of this city and fake people just blowing smoke on my ass and telling me, that just yeah, it's a cutthroat business there. So I ended up getting a major motion picture with Samuel L. Jackson called Lake View Paris. I played a stripper in the movie. I don't get naked though, no titties, but I played a stripper, and it typecasted me.
I bet it did.
Yeah.
No, and I really didn't like that. Like I was paying to be an actress. I was studying acting. I was doing. I was flying all over the world. Was booked for 4 months at a time. Couldn't even go on a date unless I like planned 2 months ahead to fit into my schedule. I was on a roll, but that movie kind of made me. It just gave me an attention that I really didn't like, and so I ended up taking a break from the industry and was like, God, I think I need to go home to Alaska. Like, I really feel like I need to connect with my roots again. So I went to Petersburg and got a job, commercial salmon fishing in the Inside Passage where I'm from. And it was amazing. It was definitely really what I needed. It showed me that I still got it. I'm not a city girl.
Well, what was that like, just being on a commercial fishing rig? Like, is that, I'm assuming, and correct me because I could be totally wrong, a male-dominated profession?
That is correct.
And what is that like as and I'm going to say it, a beautiful, young, fit woman?
It's hard.
Like, what was that like?
Was it hard to be taken seriously?
Yeah.
Like, you can get out there and do the job just like those guys can, right?
Well, actually, it's funny because I was a wrestler from middle school into high school. I took 4th place at state against men in
awesome.
2000. So I've always been a tomboy girl, even though I'm pretty. I'm definitely, I felt like I was a man growing up. I'm from a state where it's 1 woman to 10 men. So I joined the wrestling team when I was younger just to give me some way to stand up for myself and to fight. I've gotten a lot of fights growing up, just because that's kind of the terrain. It's fast runner. It's
rugged.
It's rugged, yeah. But so being a wrestler, I just have a dominating fierceness to my energy.
Yeah.
So fishing for me was not that, like, really the hardest part is just the body work. It really takes a toll on your body. But a lot of women do fish, and really strong, amazing women, beautiful women. I got some really gorgeous girlfriends that fish, and they still do it, and they'll probably do it for the rest of their life. My mom is a fisherman. My brother is he does crabbing in the Bering Sea. And my father was a professional mountain alpine climber. His name was Dieter Close. And so I come from a family of extremists where I was never told that I couldn't do it. I was told that I could do anything that I put my mind to.
That's
and
awesome.
So I live by that. And it really definitely pushed me. Even days on the boat when I was out there, just, God, this sucks. It's just rainy. It's shitty weather. It's stormy. I'm scared.
I'm freezing.
I'm freezing. This sucks. Like, but I got this. I can do this. I'm not giving up. I'm not a person that gives up easily. So I actually really liked that. Like, there was an adrenaline and an addictive thing behind it. When you catch a couple 100 salmon, you're like, I did it. Yes, I'm making money. More. And it kind of becomes addicting in a way.
Now, were you out on the boat for really long periods of time?
Well, what you do when you're salmon fishing is you'll go out, you'll catch your fish, you'll bring it to a tender, or you can bring it to shore to unload, and then you go back out, and you have 3 days off, 4 days on. There was one point though where I was on the boat for a month. We never stepped off onto land. We only docked up in a harbor, and it was in this cove outside of Ketchikan where we would go out and fish, drop the fish off on a tender boat, and then go and park in the cove. And we couldn't go onto land because it was like a special kind of like a lodge area where tourists would go to, and it's like 10 people lived there.
Oh,
so
only tourists allowed. No fishermen are allowed to step foot. That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just that in and of itself is incredible, and a very unique experience that most people can't even imagine.
So you go from salmon to being what kind of fishing did you go into from there?
So after that, so from salmon fishing, it made me kind of realize like I don't want to be in the city anymore. I think I'm done with modeling and acting, and I modeled for a little bit after, but I ended up moving to Tahoe, and that next summer, I believe it was 2004, no, 2009. I went. I heard that I could make a lot of money squid fishing. And I was like, okay, I got a lot of buddies that own their own squid boats, and they go all up and down the coast of California, Washington, down to the coast or to the border of Mexico. And a buddy of mine, Patrick Benner, who rest in peace, my good friend, he got me a job on a squid boat, and I took it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I got on that boat. I realized not many women squid fish. It was nothing like salmon fishing. It was big sea, not in the inside passage. This was like straight open water, 20-foot swell. And the boat that I got put on, it was really old. It was a 25 by 50-foot vessel. My skipper, my captain, was running it, and then there was like another helper. And I was running the lead line, and the other deckhand was running the cork line. And then there was one other crew member that was running the boat that pulls the net away from the main boat to keep it in a circle. So it's a crew of like 4, sometimes 5. We'll bring another person on. But yeah, I got a job doing the lead line because unfortunately the other dude had a bum leg and couldn't do the lead line as fast as I could, I guess. And I was too small to stack the corks because I'm 5'4", 19, 20 pounds. And so it was, yeah, very little. But I was like, oh my God, what the fuck did I get myself into? But I'm not quitting now. I'm here. I'm here. So about a month in, just chasing calamari up and down the Pacific from Monterey down to San Diego. About a month in, we got into a really, really gnarly storm. And that night, it was the scariest night of my life.
I'm sure.
I'm like choking up a little bit, but it was the scariest night of my life. We caught 5,000 herring on accident, and during the time that we were, there was no other way to basically get the herring out of the net because we were fishing for squid. So the only way we could get the herring out was squishing them. And this was such an old boat that there wasn't, what do you call it? There wasn't a drum that brings a net in. We had to do it all manually.
Oh my
God.
God.
I had to pull the lead
insane.
line, which is about a 30, I don't know. I don't remember exactly how heavy it is, but I want to say like holding it's a lot. Like it's a really thick lead line that goes for about like 2 miles, I think, 2 or 3 miles. And it makes the net sink to the bottom while the corks keep the net up to float.
Right.
So I have to circle the lead line when it comes into the boat in these huge circles, like probably about like, I don't know, 5-foot circles, stacks and stacks and stacks. So that when it comes onto the boat and goes off, it just goes out right smoothly. And so when we caught all these herring, there wasn't a drum on the boat. They had to go up into this beam above us, and then the net would drop down, and I had to pull my side, my lead line to the left, while the other deckhand pulled the cork line to the right. And so the herring were getting squished above us, creating what some fishermen call a Christmas tree, because their blood and guts were everywhere.
Oh my God.
I was in like up to my knees, blood and guts, water, the storm, while we were squishing the herrings to get them out of the net.
Seriously, on a horror movie.
Yeah, it was horrific, and I'm writing a book about this actually right now.
Oh my God.
And then the whole time the boat is rocking and everything's crazy and it's raining.
Oh yeah, and so you have to have your legs spread wide so that you don't go overboard. So you're constantly like spread legs, hands on the net, don't let go of the net. That is your safety thing, or I'm going overboard. So constantly I had my hands on the net. Jellyfish is falling at my face. Blood and guts are all over me. Jellyfish is in my eyes and my mouth, going down my whole wet rain gear. Like the rain is coming in sideways, needles going up my nose, while while the storm is picking up, the other boat that's supposed to pull the fishing net away from the boat, I don't know what was happening because the storm was so gnarly that I don't think he was pulling the net away from the boat because it was getting caught up in the propeller and getting ripped apart and bumped up in the propeller while we're trying to get it out of the propeller. And there's fish and guts everywhere. I'm falling. Everybody's falling. It was like seriously like a horror movie. And during all of that, we fought for a good 12 hours trying to get the net out of the lead line out of the propeller. And, you know, with the circling of the ocean, making it go up against the boat and, you know, not being able to get it out of the line. When we finally got it out, I guess we went up a wave sideways sort of, and I had my, you know, I'm constantly looking up, but I have a hat on, and then I have to have like some sort of, sometimes I wear sunglasses. I had to wear like clear glasses because you get jellyfish in your eye, and
like
you can't
safety
just
goggles,
stop.
like some.
Yeah, but you can't just stop and drop the net and hey, I need a break. You can't.
No, you're in it.
You're in it. You're constantly working. Like I was ripped. I was tired. My veiny muscles, like I was definitely a beast at that time after circling all the things. So anyways, I got kind of not slacklined, but when the net came out of the water, it was in a bundle and it slacked down and dropped and hit me in the side of the right side of my head like a sack of potatoes. Just, I don't know if it nicked me or what, but it definitely knocked me to my knees. I didn't see it happen. The other deckhand did though, I guess, but I could kind of hear him screaming at me. Really what I remember is just like, I went into another world. Everything was sparkly and everything was silent. Kind of like a mushroom experience.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I was like, am I tripping right now? Like, where am I? Like, I just, all I knew was don't let go of the net, don't let go of the net, don't let go of the net, hold it, you know, the storm's happening. But I was in another world, like
another
la,
dimension.
la, 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 da, 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 da. And I just remember like my skipper coming up and bringing me into the cabin and making me put ice on my head and checking my eyes, which were super dilated. And
Did you lose consciousness?
I didn't, because I remember I was throwing up. I hadn't eaten, but I just was throwing up, trying to throw up, like just instant sickness. And I never get seasick. I was raised on the water.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, you know, just didn't
TBI,
really,
man.
Yeah, straight up right away. And they took me to shore after that. I don't remember actually how they even got the net in or what happened, but I know that I got brought to the hospital.
It is a miracle that you even got to the hospital.
Yeah,
from out of that storm.
Pretty lucky. This experience can decapitate people, and it has.
That's what I was thinking. Like you could have
killed a lot of fishermen have died this way. I had a blood clot in my brain, and I didn't know it. I have severe scar tissue now on the outside of my head, but I have no physical. You can't really tell that I have a brain injury. I look normal, but inside, instantly things started to change. Instantly, I didn't know that I was asking the same question over and over. I didn't. My boyfriend brought me to the hospital, and he started kind of getting frustrated with me. Like, Wrenna, you keep asking me what the name of the CD is like 5 times. Stop asking me. Like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. What are you talking about? Like, he's like, no, what? Like, and I didn't know. Like, I had a lot of pride back then. I was pretty ruthless. You know, I was a hard worker, intense woman. I wouldn't admit that I was fucked up.
Well, and it's really scary when someone's telling you that you're doing something that you have no idea you're doing.
But I also had about a 15-minute, I think it was like a 15-second memory span. Oh. I couldn't remember past I couldn't remember conversations. And it didn't really, I didn't get that messed up right away. I mean, I got messed up right away, but it got worse after about 6-7 months. I just kept going downhill, downhill, downhill. Through time, I didn't know if I had eaten. I forgot if I was walking my dog. Couldn't tell you where I lived. I forgot where my P.O. box was. What even, like, just basic things. Wow. And the only way that I realized that was a good friend of mine. A good friend of mine, Timbanova, she took me into her house to take care of me because I didn't really want to go home to Alaska. I didn't want to admit I was messed up. I wasn't the kind of person to admit defeat. But my friends started to really break it down. Like, you need help. You're not functioning. You know, I started getting hypersensitive to daylight. Basically what happened to me is I got hypersensitive to sight, sound, taste, and touch. I had to wear sunglasses all the time. I couldn't handle fluorescent lights. I couldn't handle daylight. I couldn't go outside without sunglasses. Loud noises made my head pound. I had 7 types of headaches. From needles in my eyeball to ice picks stabbing me in the back of the head, hammers hitting me. I felt like I was being sacrificed like a voodoo doll constantly. I didn't know that I was, that my fibromyalgia syndrome, which is the pain syndrome, had taken place because all the nerves in my brain got ripped apart on the right side of my head. And the nerves in my eye, on my right eye got ripped apart, causing my eyes to overlap and for me to see tracers, energy wavelengths, kind of like I was tripping constantly and I couldn't understand it. My brain was trying to make up for it, trying to handle it. And so it was creating all these different headaches and stuff. And I didn't know that then, but it was absolutely debilitating. So I called my mom. I was like, I need to come home. And I went to be with her.
I'm just like wondering, how long were you in this place of suffering, the physical pain, the anguish, the mental anguish, all of that? How long was this going on before you were finally getting some help?
Well, I had fibromyalgia still, but my headaches have stopped, thank gosh. The biggest doctor that I've seen a lot of doctors, but the one that helped me the most was my neuro-optometrist. I didn't know that your eyesight is such a big part of a brain injury. How you see things changes.
Wow.
How you feel changes. Not one brain injury is the same. Every brain injury is different. It is a crazy study that people are still trying to understand. So a lot of doctors didn't know how to fix me or didn't know really what was going on. And after staying with my mom for a little bit, I realized that I finally realized that my memory was gone because I got shown. Like I went to I think it was a neurologist or somebody, but he did some tests, like showed me 5 pictures of something. And I only remembered 3 of the 5 pictures. And I argued with him. I was like, no, there was 3. He's like, no, Wrenna, there were 5. I'm like, no, there fucking wasn't. There were 3. He's like, no, actually there were 5. Like you have a time frame. You have about a year time frame for any brain injury, kind of to get back to where you were. He said, if you don't get into a traumatic brain injury facility as soon as possible, you will never be able to be who you were again.
Wow.
And I realized, like, that was when I was like, shit, okay.
Wow.
I guess this is real. So I checked myself into the Center for Neuroskills in Bakersfield. It was the worst experience of my life. The hospital treated me like shit. They treated me incompetent, like I was just a vegetable, because a lot of the people in there, unfortunately, were really way off, way worse than I was. Some people were hit by semis. One young man, I had to see his mother tell him every day. He was 30, and she had to tell him every day, when you were 18, you got in a car accident and your girlfriend's gone and all this stuff. It was intense, you know, like I saw, like, I am like these people now. I have a brain injury. I'm different. I had to admit I've been defeated. Not defeated, but just,
I felt defeated.
I did. I did. Yeah. It was really hard. But I worked hard. Like, luckily this hospital showed me how messed up I was. Mm-hmm. They showed me how short my memory was. I had a normal human can do 5 things at once with their brain. They can talk to you while they're thinking about what they want to have for dinner. They can think about what's going on in the other room, that they have to go pee, or, you know, and then like other things, sound and things. I can only focus on 3 things at once now. So I have, like, my attention span, I have to, like, focus on one person. I can't listen to other things going on. I have to, like, you know, really focus on certain things. And I figured that out because of the little studies, like this one where they had like pins and marbles and things that were all organized, and they would dump them out onto the table and put a radio on, and had timed me organizing it back into the thing. And I couldn't do it with the radio going, but and then they would time it. And after, you know, a month, they would show me, like, after about a month, they would add a TV and the radio while I was organizing things. And my attention span was like, I can't do it. Like, too much going on. And, but it showed me, like, I needed to work on this. Yeah. They would tell me numbers, say how many numbers back in order. I would only remember 2. And then I got to remembering 4 numbers. And then I got to remembering 5. And I started to see my progress, but I also started getting worse. This hospital, they wouldn't let me, basically they were just feeding me full of drugs. And I feel like they were feeding me full of drugs to just make me, I don't know. It was
to keep
really,
you just kind of calm and not have to process the trauma and not have to deal.
Actually,
that's what I'm hearing. And
yeah,
it's so sad. I feel so just sad for people that are in that situation, in that kind of facility where there is, like, just the whole goal is to numb everybody down. How do you
it really is. I didn't feel like none of the nurses are really there to support these patients. And that's why now I personally feel like I want to stand up for brain injured patients. I want to stand up for people that can't stand up for themselves. I couldn't talk. I couldn't have a conversation and get my words out right. I would stumble, and I would be very blunt. I lost my speech. I would walk into walls. I had left spatial neglect, where what that means is I would look at my left hand and I couldn't connect it to my body. I would look at it and I'd be like, that's my hand. I can't move it. And it was weird because I could look at it. Yes, it's connected to my body, but how can I not work my hand? And so when I was in the hospital, because I couldn't, you know, leave, they wouldn't let me leave. I was an inpatient. I had to be on video. So they would make sure I wouldn't put a fork in the microwave, just make sure I wouldn't hurt myself also, because I was really depressed. But I found out that fire dancing kind of helped me connect my left and my right side of my body, because I didn't light my poi on fire right away, of course, but I used these tools to go left, right with my left hand, and then the other way with my right, to kind of create this space from my body, because I would hit myself with my left hand, and then with my right, it would work correctly, but my left hand wouldn't. And I kind of like vertigo, where when you're like walking down a hallway, you'll just go to the left. And it really helped me a lot to kind of create a connection with my body, because I felt like my body wasn't mine anymore.
So
my
was
reflection
this
in the mirror.
That they recommended?
Nope. I did it on my own, because I had gone to Burning Man the year before I went squid fishing, and I fell in love with fire dancers. So I got some toys, and it was something I really liked to do before my accident. So I found it to actually be a form of meditation and a way for me to escape myself, because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't paint, and I couldn't make art. I couldn't make jewelry. I couldn't recognize myself in the mirror. I forgot how to do makeup. I forgot how to cook. Basic, simple things.
Well, things that were just kind of like this innate part of you, right? That we don't feel like that's anything that we would ever be separated from. And
No.
then you're going through this experience where
you're really like pulled out and you're like an observer of everything.
Yeah, I felt kind of like I woke up out of a coma in a beautiful grown woman's body, and the only way I knew my past was because of my Facebook.
wow.
I studied my Facebook every day.
Did it feel like you were reading about a stranger?
Yeah, a beautiful woman, this model, this actress, this girl that I was like, how did I do that? How was I that way? I did movies.
So you're going also, so on top of everything else, the physical aspects, the rehabilitation aspect of just that process of healing, but you're also having to mourn.
And I started seeing a therapist, and she put it this way: you've been grieving. Well, like finally, actually, the last 3 years, I'm finally happy. I feel like myself again. I'm independent again. I have a career with my art, and it's a saving grace because,
Well, that's a hard thing to put into words. I mean, honestly, it's always, we're limited by our verbal language, because I can, even though we're thousands of miles apart, I feel you.
We feel everything you're saying.
Yeah, thank you, sisters.
We feel the energy of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many layers to the whole thing, I mean, there's so many layers to any healing journey, that any one of us are having.
Yeah. And it's so important to stay positive and to love yourself. And that's really what I learned. To love my darkness. Because I've been in the grieving process of missing my old life, missing an identity. Because I really felt like a child, naked, vulnerable, sex was new. Certain foods I didn't like anymore. I couldn't be touched. I was so sensitive that if I was touched, it would just make my skin crawl and it would hurt because I have fibromyalgia. Even my hands, you touch my hands, I'm ticklish in my hands. Like, I'm very sensitive now, but I've made it a superpower. I have made it something for me that I can use. And I've been putting it into my art because for a while I couldn't paint, and finally it clicked because I tried. I wouldn't give up painting. My mom was an artist, and it was just kind of like something I really wanted to do again. I was an artist before, but not like I am now. How I see things now, there's a lot of I'm kind of on a trip a lot of the time. Like I see light constantly. There's no full darkness for me when I'm in the dark. I can't see in the dark. Light is everywhere. So I'm really sensitive, and I put that into my art now, which is really fun. The colors are different for me. It's been fun. It's a journey.
What was your artwork like before?
Before
I really loved Archie, Betty, and Veronica stuff. I did a lot of like cartoon things and goddess women, but it wasn't like what I do now. And because I started studying from master painters. I went back to school when the doctor said, you will never be independent, you will never be a mom, you're fucked up. I was like, actually, that's you guys can go.
Actually, you're fucked up.
Yeah, actually, you're fucked up.
Fucking wrong, and
so
get the fuck out.
Yeah. I was like, actually, you guys can just take that and put it away because I'm going to go back to school. And I did. I went back to college. I studied psychology to understand. I wanted to know what happened to me. So I took a class in psychology, and then English, and then painting, and then sculpture. And it showed me what happened. I learned what had happened to me. You have 2 hippocampuses in your brain, which are your memory areas. One of mine, I want to say it went away. It disappeared. Luckily, I have another one on my left side of my head. But it helped me learn that I can find other ways of making my memory work, because I do have a terrible memory. But through therapy, I found ways, making a lot of lists, remembering names, like saying things in my head, or creating visual. I have a photographic memory now. I try and take pictures with my head or my mind. I've found a way of making what I have work for me. And so, yeah, so going back to school kind of showed me, like, hey, I can make new memories. Luckily, I can make new memories. Yeah, I'll never remember who I was, but I can at least be who I want to be now.
Mm-hmm.
And who is that? And my quote that I use is, one day you might wake up and not know who you are. That's the day you get to decide who you want to be.
Wow.
And so I did. I was like, I want to be an artist. This is obviously the only thing I feel like I'm good at. I can paint. So I just need to study. And I found this artist on my Facebook, while I was also studying myself, because I studied my Facebook a lot. And I started deleting pictures and deleting my old life to accept a new one, like certain things, because I'm not that sexy chick anymore. I was a bikini swimsuit model. I deleted a lot of those photos because I don't want to be that girl anymore. That's not me. That's an old person. And so I started focusing on my art, and I found this amazing artist. She's one of the most amazing women I've ever met, named Amanda Sage. And she is a visionary painter, much like Alex Gray, who is another just fascinating artist. They're both just absolutely mind-blowing, transformative, transdimensional, just love them both so much. I haven't met Alex yet, but Amanda really did save my life. I found her online as she was teaching this workshop called How to Paint with Light.
Wow.
I needed it. I needed to see how to paint with light, because that's what I do. I have light in me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's how I see now. So I took this course with Amanda in LA for a week, and I painted this painting of me with a third eye and deer antlers. And I was blown away that I painted it. I just couldn't believe that I painted it. I was like, fuck, I can paint. Yes. So I was like, wow, this is definitely what I need to keep doing. So I kept following Amanda, because she's just a muse. She has a beautiful vision for just sharing love, and so I started following her and taking classes with her. And Amanda is one of many apprentices, but one of the only ones that studied with Ernst Fuchs for like just. I forget. I don't want to say the specifics because I forget, and but I know that she was one of his main apprentices since she was 18 years old. Ernst Fuchs was the surrealism godfather of the visionary artists, kind of what a lot of visionaries call him, the godfather, because he started the surrealism movement, and he just passed away a couple years ago. But he was good friends with Dali, and they were, obviously just fucking cool out there people. And Amanda studied with him. And so I've been learning a lineage of beautiful, wild techniques of old master painting ways, little tricks that I really needed to just kind of pick up, and now I'm a sponge for information. I learn things really fast, especially if I use my hands. So I've been just working on it. And not only have I studied with Amanda, but I found the Visionary Art Academy in Austria, where I went to study with a amazing painter named Jonathan Solter, and I studied Daniel Morante in Italy, and several other just fascinating visionaries. And now I'm so into it. I'm addicted to wanting to support the arts for all these other artists, and I think art is healing.
Well, so you're getting into probably then creating a lot of your own, using different mediums to be able to create this effect of light illumination that comes across, because it's very clear when I'm looking at your art, and I don't get to stand in front of it in person, but looking at it online, I mean, your paintings are full of just the most nuanced, beautiful glow of light that there is, especially like, well, and I don't want to get into that right this second, but there's like some specific paintings I'm blown away by your technique. I'm blown away by, and I'm not the painter like Melissa is, but I do appreciate and understand art, and from that aspect, it's very compelling. You can see the care and the technique. There's everything to be said about being able to have that ability, and to be able to see in your mind's eye and translate that onto the canvas. That's always the rub, of being able to do that. And it's quite stunning.
Thank you. It's been so healing, because I definitely see things now in a way. I have lucid dreams. I leave my body very easy. I don't know. I'm very empathic, and it's been nice to have a form of release where I can be in solitude. And I actually kind of don't really think when I'm painting. I go somewhere else, which is really, really nice for me. A lot of layering.
To me, I look at your painting and all the different elements included in your paintings, and I would say that you're channeling. I mean, I would call that channeling.
I definitely would. I would agree. I feel like there's something else in me, using me as a vessel in a way. Oftentimes I feel like, of course, my body isn't mine. I feel like I've been given a gift to be here now, because I should have died. Definitely should have died. I lost so much to, I feel like, be recalibrated to be on this path now. Yeah, I would say I am channeling, but I don't know. Yeah.
Well, do you see, like, I mean, had the light worker painting pulled up, the light workers painting, and we noticed that there were some very unusual looking beings in your painting, and I was like, I said to Marilyn, like, I wonder if she sees these beings. Like, do you see them? Like, are you visiting with them while you're painting? Do you feel their presence and
that connection?
do you feel them coming through you and wanting to be?
Very much so, and at times I feel very out of place in this world. I am connected to different, I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, that painting that painting is me lying on the table being fixed by three beings with faces that they look like, extraterrestrial, but I painted that painting so everybody can make it what they need to for themselves. But for me, it's my recalibration process being fixed by these beings to be sent back.
Do you have experiences of feeling that experience happening where you're being directly worked? I mean, is this something that continues to happen on a ongoing basis with these beings?
I feel, well, yeah, in a way I died, and I tune into things now. I'm trying to put it into my art, and it's helping me connect with other people that are like me, which is really cool. And like you, that you see, that they aren't extraterrestrials, they are beings, because there are different types of beings and realms and dimensions in this life, in this human experience of mine. And this is my human experience. That's the best way I can put it.
So in a way, like everything that happened to you, right? I mean, which of course, once again, there's many layers to that. I mean, the accident, the physical part of the accident, the recovery, mental, emotional, spiritual components that went along with that, and just your sheer will to, and your positive outlook. So, I mean, there's so many layers to that. But I mean, do you feel like the accident and everything that went along with it sort of completely retunes you to a different vibrational frequency?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm a lot for people. Sometimes I spend a lot of time alone. Before I was an extrovert, now I'm an introvert. I spend a lot of time alone. I don't like crowds now. I feel people and they're hurting, and it hurts me. So I'm trying to understand this new body of mine, and it's getting cooler and cooler because
as your understanding goes along.
Yeah, and by also connecting with other people that are special, it's helping me learn, and I'm really looking forward to finding more teachers, because I'm also a student as much as I'm wanting to be a teacher.
Well, as we all are,
we're all connected.
On Earth,
yeah, we're all connected.
Truly.
Definitely. And I actually have been getting into, now I'm a performance painter, where I'll perform at festivals, either on stage or beside, while DJs are doing their sets and people are tripping out and dancing and getting all fun.
That's cool.
But it's been really cool for me to kind of slowly, I've been like integrating myself back, and festivals really helped me find myself again, because I was like, fuck, who am I? How do I find out who I am? Let me go out in the world. And so I started being a gypsy and going to festivals and traveling. And with the money from my lawsuit, I used a lot of it to study and to put into finding a new identity for myself. And festivals connected me with spiritual people, and it's been really hard, as well as it has been very transformative for me, because sometimes, I do get really overwhelmed with loud music, and but it's really good to push myself. I've been learning, like, how do I know unless I try? You know, and it's really nice, because festivals have helped me connect with people, and it's been fueling my art more by the interactions and the input that I'm getting from people. People are crying with me over that painting, light workers, straight up. People come up to that painting and look at it, and I'll look over, and they don't know that I'm the artist sitting there in my gallery. You know, it's a pop-up gallery at a festival, and people are crying. And I go up to them, I'm like, are you okay? Like, can I give you a hug? And they're just like, God, this speaks to me. I'm like, thank you for letting me know that, because it makes you know I'm not alone.
You're not
alone.
And you're not alone. And your art gets to be this beacon of light for all these people to connect with it. And that's,
well, and it's also like the timing of this. I mean, like, we look at, okay, so everything that was happening to you, like on the, you know, on this micro level, and yet on the macro level, because I mean, we're two people that have been spiritually awake and aware our whole lives, and waiting for this shift in consciousness, and trying to assist in bringing it about in whatever ways we could and can. And, I mean, it's no accident that everything that was happening to you happened at this time where people are so receptive and so yearning. You have no idea how what you're putting into your paintings might be this trigger for somebody to have an entire awakening, and they probably are, because I can feel that. I mean, I look at your paintings, and it's just, it's like any, I mean, for us, I mean, we do, like I said, Reiki and sound healing, and so much of the, you know, this work is with vibrational frequencies and these intricate layers, and each layer is doing something different to different parts of your brain and your body and your spirit, and that's what it reminds me of when I see one of your paintings. I think that's what I recognized in it right away, is that it's doing something to many layers of your consciousness.
And your vibrational frequency as you're looking at it, as you're experiencing it. And and for you to be talking about light, you know, I know we were kind of pondering this question of, like, do you intentionally and I know we're talking about there's two kind of lights, but I'm saying I know the light that you see when it's in the darkness and being infused with that. But then there's like the higher light, right? And it feels like you're infusing these incredible paintings,
like I would say,
with that
light
light.
coded.
Exactly,
like
light coded.
It's like light coded, light encoded.
Cool. I like that.
Well, it's like, you brought up Alex Gray earlier, and I will say, in full disclosure, the first time I saw your paintings, when I saw your artwork, what I thought was, this is the divine feminine answer to the sacred masculine of Alex Gray's paintings.
Oh,
Because
thank you.
Alex Gray, while he I love him. He is transformative. He was a huge impact in my life the first time I ever encountered him 30 years ago, long time ago. And to see him continuing on and creating the Chapel of Mirrors, creating this, like, the physical manifestation of these works of art that he created. And when he paints these women and his love, and there is so much care in there, but everything in his art says to me, I feel it in that sacred masculine way. And even though there's a lot of other things going on there, and you feel that, and I mean feel it in my being. And then when I saw your paintings, I was just shook and struck by, like, this is it. She's like this element that is needed in this picture that we're traversing, with having art as being a form of healing, which I believe, we both do believe, that it's absolutely healing in its nature, not just for the person creating it, but for the people that get to experience it and to see it. And so I, to just come from this place where everything that I see you talking about, divine feminine, earth, mother, nature, it feels like this is just such a beautiful message that the collective needs right now,
Thank you.
Well, there's a deep honoring in your paintings, within your paintings. Your sweet, loving spirit, of course, is reflected in that, but there is a deep honoring that the collective of humanity needs to see, with the feminine, with animals, with the elements, water, the trees,
The
the
oceans.
wind, the ocean,
Just for you having that whole element of the oceans and all the life.
Every single thing that we need to be respecting every minute of every day. And are not, and the way that you give life to them, that kind of shakes you to the core of your being, and helps you to think about things and shift your perception. It's incredible.
It is. So it's no wonder that people are coming up to you and they don't even know if you're the artist or not, but they're crying, they're openly weeping, or feeling this deep emotional connection and awakening.
Yeah. So reassuring for me, and it's really cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Well, we couldn't also help but notice that you have a love for stones and crystals. It's in your artwork, like the light worker painting. Like when you're looking at that, it's not just like a bed of crystals. It's like the world. It's like this. It's got a sphere to that shape, and seeing it, like how they come up in other works, and from your own personal, because like you've had some pictures with your stones and laying them out. Have you utilized the stones on your healing journey for that purpose?
Oh my goodness. Crystals are really, really powerful to me. The energy that they put off really helps me a lot. I wear a labradorite necklace constantly because I feel like it helps me ground my psychic intuitiveness, as well as protect myself from things that I'm not ready for. And when I don't wear it, I do notice different energies and different things. And when I wear other crystals, I notice. But my house is definitely filled with crystals, and I feel like I feel so safe in my home. I have crystals under my seat in my car. crystals everywhere, just because they really help. I feel that they protect me, and they help.
Yeah,
They give me different gifts.
they do.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking to two huge. I mean,
It's
you know,
what we do.
that's what we do,
I see
and it's what we
your
are.
crystals in your picture too. I love that. Crystal sisters.
Do you feel like, do you feel physically in the way that you perceive the energy from the crystals, or that the crystals are giving off? Is that different than how it used to be before your accident? Like, do you have a new awareness or a...
I have a new awareness for everything. Definitely very connected to the earth, and the vibrational frequency of the stones really helped me a lot. Yeah, definitely very connected to crystals.
Well, just because we're always like, you know, what are your favorite stones besides other than labradorite, which let's just take a moment to honor the labradorite.
Yes, labradorite.
Magic.
It's the magic stone.
Magic.
I love lab, and then amethyst is also it's healing. It's known for helping with addictions, for helping to protect you and to guide your creative energies. I forget off the top of my mind what a lot of the crystals do, but I have them for their aspects. Smoky quartz, obsidian, sunstones. Gosh.
Well, you're right in the middle of sunstone country up there in
serpentine.
Oregon.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of rock hunting. I do. Yeah.
Well,
something that really helped me to understand the magic of Earth was ayahuasca.
Plant medicine.
Yes, plant medicine. Someone, a very good friend of mine, told me that I could get my memories back or fix my fibromyalgia by sitting in ayahuasca ceremony. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. What do I got to lose? I already lost everything. So I did. I flew to Peru, and I sat, and I got to see my old life from a third person perspective, like up in a corner of the ceiling looking down, and certain things that I've gone through that my body remembered, but my mind didn't. And I got to actually see it happen. And it was the craziest, most trippy fucking experience for me, that I was like, this is real medicine. And so since then, like it made me fall in love with myself again. It made me, like, basically I was like, I don't want to be here. I'm about to take my own life. I'm in so much pain. I'm suffering. Why am I here, Aya? Why am I here? And she said, Wrenna, in order to be a true healer, you have to know true pain. And she lifted me up, and I was levitated in my psychedelic trip under the plant medicine. I was levitated and shot with axes and arrows and needles and everything that could go into my body like a voodoo doll. I was just pierced and brutalized as I'm just levitating with my arms out, and all of a sudden rainbows are coming in from every corner of the room, down the floor, and they come up underneath my feet and up my legs, up my body, over all of the demonic tools and axes and knives and piercing things, and it went up my throat, over my face, and then it went, my mouth opened, and the rainbows went down my throat, and I could hear this music, this just like angels filling me up with light, and all of a sudden just like I shot everything out of me. All of the light filled me up, and I shot all of these things out of me, and every hole that those things were in filled with light. And I realized, like, this is okay. You know, yeah, I'm in pain all the time, but I can make this my superpower. I can drink rainbows for breakfast.
I can drink rainbows for breakfast.
Yeah, that needs to be a t-shirt.
Yeah,
yes.
It changed my life. I really do recommend, if you want to face yourself, if you want to fix your ego, you're suffering from addiction, from pain, from abuse, from rape, anything, this will help you not only understand it, but get rid of it and purge and release it, because you don't need to hold on to some things. You are allowed to let things go. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to feel better. You are loved. Sometimes we get in our way, and that's something that really helped me to learn is get out of your way, Wrenna.
Wow. I'm just like in tears over
I
here.
know we're both the waterworks are on.
Oh, thanks. I'm holding back.
It's beautiful to hear. I mean, I hear everything, and then I see this, and I think about like just the paintings I've seen you create and how transformation is such an underlying component that goes through all of these things. It's transformation, and you taking all of that on and seeing it in that way, and to have that awareness and that deep knowing and coming out of that and having all of that love for you, because you're the only one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, yeah, unbelievably beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that story. Like, that's just a profound experience.
I felt like we were there.
I know. I could see the whole thing.
I know. I could too.
Without the vomiting.
Yeah.
Without the purge.
You know, a lot of people don't really know of this medicine, that there are ways of tapping into our spiritual side. Kambo, Aya, Iboga. I haven't done all these, but there are ways of that are not pills and drugs that are prescribed by a doctor. You know, I was on Lyrica for 8 years, and I've been 5 months off of it because I changed my diet, I changed my thinking. I realized if I eat an anti-inflammatory diet, and you know, try and get more sleep, I just like really, really have been working hard on myself to try and understand who I am now, and and to be okay with it. And now I'm super stoked to share, because I feel if I can do this, so can anyone else. Everybody can heal themselves.
And the earth provides so many beautiful,
she's providing those plant medicines.
She provides everything that we need for our own healing journey.
Yeah. Grandmother is wise.
The wisest.
Yes.
So, what do you got coming up on your horizon? Like, I know that you're going to be having an art opening. What else are you? How can the people that listen to this episode connect with you? And you know, maybe because we got people all over.
Yeah. Well, I have my first ever solo exhibition in Portland, Oregon, at the Nectar Cafe. And I will have a lot of my originals up there, as well as prints and stuff. And it will be up until November 9th.
Okay.
I'm also starting to do motivational speaking. I'll be speaking for the Stroke Foundation on November 6th, because I basically had the equivalent of a stroke. What I went through is kind of like that. I went through a lot of the things that stroke patients have experienced. And so I'll be talking for the Stroke Foundation. I just did a talk at the Visual Arts Center here in Newport. And I'm really looking forward to just being able to, I would love to do a TED Talk someday. I don't know. I have some ideas, and it's just the beginning.
Awesome.
Did you mention you're working on a book right now?
I am, and I'm going to call it My Human Experience, I think. Oh, that's the title I like so far.
I like that.
I want to call it My Human Experience, and it starts on the boat and goes into full detail what I went through, and my also third person. I talk in a kind of third person, old Wrenna, new Wrenna, what I went through, and hopping back and forth. And it's been interesting for me because I don't remember a lot, but memories are coming back to me. I'll smell something, I'll get a memory, and I'm like, got it. Wow, awesome. Oh, that was cool. I remember this from my childhood. It's like certain things that are coming back. Yeah, it's really, and then there's some things that don't, and I'm like, God, is is that a memory of mine, or what is that? Is that my memory or someone else's? It's interesting, and so I'm writing about it, and I'm starting to get into teaching. I've been working with children in Mexico. I've been starting to do some painting workshops. I really find joy in rescuing animals and helping children, and I'm definitely getting into teaching. And I want to help stroke, brain injured, anybody that actually has suffered or had loss, to find a way to help express themselves, and to know that your visions, these things that you have in your head, you can get out of them. Mm-hmm. And it's good too. It's kind of like my way of purging in a way. Mm. Each painting is completely different. Not one of them will ever be the same, because it's all different.
Well, that's that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's that message of that's embedded in that painting. It's that moment.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, just amazing. And
you are incredible. Mm-hmm. You are absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much, you guys.
And I'm so grateful that we connected, and that you had a chance to share your story with us. Yeah. You are a shining light to this world, and your healing journey is, I'm sure it already has impacted so many people, and it's going to continue to light up this world. And I'm just so blessed to connect with you.
I'm just so grateful. Thank you. Thank you for all of that you're doing, all that you're creating. You're serving humanity in the most beautiful, incredible way on all of these different levels that you just spoke about, and all the things that you're doing and continuing to do.
Just even by loving yourself.
That's huge. That's huge.
It's a struggle for everybody. Self-love is hard, and I will continue to have my ups and downs like we all do. But thank you for seeing me and resonating and feeling me. Appreciate it.
We are very grateful for you, and thank you for spending this time today. And for our listeners, can connect with you by visiting your website.
Yeah, I need to update it or find someone to help me make it better, but it's RennaMonet.com, WRENNAMONET.com. And then I'm on Instagram at artist_Wrenna_Monet. And then my new spirit name is Serpentine Phoenix. So I also have another Instagram with Serpentine_Phoenix.
Following both
because
already.
I feel I've shed so many layers like a snake, that I was burnt like the phoenix to be reborn. And that's my fierce, the serpent energy is really, I have a lot of snakes in my paintings.
Yes,
that's
people
not
say,
been
"God,
unnoticed."
that's really demonic," and I'm like, no, actually,
it's the coolest of the coolest.
Yeah. Snake is all about transformation.
It's everything. It's
we
beautiful.
have a lot of snakes that come to us in our healing Reiki sessions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and especially after you do Aya, she never leaves you. Mm-hmm. She's the serpent goddess, the grandmother, and she will forever be helping me and giving me strength. And so,
you are amazing.
You're a gift.
You're amazing. Thank you. You're reflecting.
So amazing.
Have a wonderful day.
Beautiful day on the coast of Oregon.
Thank you so much, ladies. It was such a pleasure.
So much love to you.
So much love. Thank you.
Love.
Thanks,
love
Wrenna.
you, and I love all of you listeners.
Okay.
We could just go on and on and on.
But we know we have stuff to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you. See you soon.
Okay. Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye. I love Wrenna so much. I love talking to her. I loved hearing her amazing story. Everything she shared, just incredible.
The energy of love that flows through her is absolutely palpable. And I know that everybody felt that.
Yes,
You
truly.
can't help but feel that. Her
I know.
level of self-awareness
And accountability,
and
authenticity,
her bravery in sharing that
vulnerability.
story.
Oh, yeah.
It is so amazing how when you reach a different level on your spiritual path and you go back and revisit these things, the level and the depth of the self-awareness and how you can look at everything as such a blessing and such a gift and have so much gratitude. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, because that's where that real healing takes place. You know, it's like that reverberates through all the other layers.
Yes.
And that's powerful.
And you guys, please, I mean, we will put some of the pictures of her artwork, the ones that we're specifically
You have to follow
talking
her
about.
on Instagram. Follow her on Instagram. Check her out.
Artist Wrenna Monet or Serpentine Phoenix. And we will put some of them on our YouTube video.
And we'll have some posts on our Instagram account that you can see. And of course, you can always visit our Instagram to click over to her accounts. That's also another way to get to Wrenna. And you are going to feel like elevated, and it's going to resonate because it's beautiful. I mean, she is a visionary artist.
And as a little aside, I asked for my birthday present because my son lives in Portland, and I was like, please go to her show and take some pictures. I wanted to be there. I wanted a live cam.
Right.
I wanted him to wear a helmet and
Put the GoPro
have a
on, Teal. Just put it on the headband.
And anyway, and so he sent me a picture of the two of them together. Absolutely darling. He and his girlfriend were blown away, just completely blown away by her paintings and being there in person. And I cannot even imagine how that feels.
I just think it's really fucking cool that Teal and Emily went and connected with Wrenna. And seeing the photos of them together was so, just made my heart sing.
I know.
You know, and I know it did for you as well.
It
So
did.
that was really cool.
It absolutely did. Yeah, it was like I got to kind of genetically give her a hug. sort of.
Exactly. Connect with her genetically. I'm giving you a hug through my genetic lineage.
That's how powerful we are.
That's-
We can,
I'm using
as humans,
I'm using
like,
my offspring as a vessel.
It's a different kind of operating system, right? When you get to the level where you can just give someone a genetic lineage hug.
Yes. Yo, that shit's real.
It is real. I felt it.
I know.
I mean, my heart grew like 5 sizes.
know.
I knew it. Like I could feel it. It was beautiful.
It was very
But
beautiful.
That shit's real.
It is real. So, again, if you're in the Portland area, go check out her show.
Yes.
Check out her art. Support her. We'd love
November
to
9th. You have until November 9th to go and see it. So you
Yeah.
better get your buns over there.
Get over there.
The Nectar Cafe. Also, some of you have been asking us about the music that we use in our podcast. As you know, Frequency Jones made our theme music, and you can follow him on SoundCloud. We always put the link. But Fino makes all of our segue music that we use, and you can check him out on SoundCloud as well. And
Yeah. Yeah,
so
definitely.
support them. Those two guys are amazing.
They are amazing. And if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, we're throwing up our guided meditations that we've created. So we'll keep making those and putting those up there. If you guys want to check that out, that's a good place to go and get that content, and you can subscribe to us there.
Be the Light Podcast
Right.
on YouTube.
Be the Light Podcast. That's what it is.
That's
And
what it is.
that's what it is. and you can find us there. And so it's fun to subscribe there.
It's
we
not
get
like
to
trying to find Waldo.
Yeah, that's
it's
where
Be
we
the Light podcast.
Be the Light podcast. And I'm looking at you, Terry Slade. Be the Light podcast. Also, if you're wanting to interact with us, or if you got questions about an episode or whatever, that's a great place to connect with us. We're, on Instagram, and we are on Twitter. We occasionally do a drive-by over there. And the YouTube channel. So we're trying to have these other places where we get to connect, and you guys can, interact, and we get to have conversations. So we love you.
We love you.
We're happy to be alive, and that's always a good thing. There's nothing like a brush with death that you really weren't even quite sure in the moment that you were having a brush with death. And then on hindsight, you realize, wow, we could have died, but we didn't. So you're welcome. We're here.
All right. Until next time. Our amazing theme music was lovingly created by Frequency Jones. Visit our website, BeTheLightRocks.com. We'll connect again wherever you are and whenever you are.
So don't you wanna be the light? Won't you come and see? Won't you come and see my light? So don't you